While the world's population is increasing at an alarming rate, water is becoming an increasingly scarce commodity. Today, many of us go through the gas station or grocery store to buy our bottles of water, believing it's our best option for clean drinking water. What if I told you, though, that not only is that water you're buying has a high chance of being not better than their own tap water, but being taken from countries around the world with hundreds of windowless factories that run 24/7 and are constantly pumping water through miles and miles of pipeline through local springs and lakes, destroying the local water sources from people who inhabit the area. But there's a simple and effective way to help our environment, and it starts by switching to a personal water bottle. Today I'm going to focus mainly on one corporate water company, Nestle. The corporate giant is worth $236 billion today. Nestle made $7.7 billion off of water bottle nation worldwide, and $343 million of that came from right here in the U.S., in Michigan, where the company bottles Ice Mountain natural spring water and Pure Life. In rural Muscatine County, Michigan, Nestle is the near windowless facility. It's just one of Nestle's roughly 100 bottled water facilities in over 34 countries internationally. And 10 production lines fill the facility, all for the purpose of funneling local spring water into containers as small as 8 ounces and as large as 2.5 gallons. They end up producing a staggering 3.5 million bottles daily. Nestle has created this factory for the sole purpose of taking water from locals and exporting it to make a profit. With these kinds of factories that can produce upwards of 500 to 1,200 bottles per minute and run 24/7. This means they're draining water through their 12-mile-an-hour pipeline from lakes and rivers faster than it can be replenished. Using the best lobbyists, consultants, and lawyers money can buy, Nestle has learned the ins and outs of where the best places to put their factories in the U.S. Nestle tends to set up shop in areas with weak water regulations or lobbies to enfeeble laws. States such as Maine and Texas operate under a remarkably lax rule from the 1800s called absolute capture, which lets landowners take all the groundwater they want. They also take advantage of other states' stricter laws as well. These allow reasonable use, which means property owners can extract water as long as it doesn't unreasonably affect other wells or aquifer systems. Not only is water becoming scarce, but big companies are taking advantage of water laws just around the U.S., just like with what happened here with Nestle in California. For companies to sell water, you must first have to own the land. In the case of Nestle, this applies to many parts of the United States. Moreover, whoever owns the land acquires the leasing rights to it and is permitted to pump as much water as he or she likes. Every year, Nestle pumps out millions of cubic meters of water for transportation in tankers to huge bottling factories. Then, Nestle tries to suppress the opposition to its organization with its army of powerful PR consultants, lawyers, and lobbyists. Here's an example of just one example of how Nestle has taken advantage of these water laws. Nestle has gone so far as to take water from our national forest. Nestle has long drawn water from the San Bernardino National Forest in California to produce Arrowhead Mountain spring water. Water from Arrowhead Springs was first bottled for sale more than a century ago. It's named after the famed arrowhead-shaped national rock formation on the mountainside north of San Bernardino and these springs near it. Both hot and cold, the hot springs were once the central attraction of a glamorous resort which closed at the late 1950s and now stands vacant at the base of the San Bernardino Mountains. Nestle piped over 36 million gallons of water from the National Forest in 2015 alone to produce bottled water. 3 different environmental groups attempted to sue the Forest Service in October of 2016 in an attempt to shut down the 4.5-mile pipeline that Nestle uses to collect the water. Opponents also submitted a petition that was signed by over more than 280,000 people demanding the agency carry out a thorough and unbiased environmental review, but Nestle's power was too great for the opposition and was squashed quickly. Forest Service officials have said Nestle's 1976 permit, which was issued to predecessor Arrowhead Protected Waters Incorporated, will remain in effect until they decide to renew on the renewal application. The Swiss film Bottled Life documents the booming business with bottled water. It focuses on the Nestle Corporation in Switzerland. Nestle currently controls more than 70% of the world's bottled water brands. Among them are Perrier and San Pellegrino. A researcher took him to his research took him to Pakistan. Nestle's market for its product, Pure Life, one of the world's most bought water brands. The village next to the factory groundwater has decreased dramatically, and the village fountain water now is nothing but foul-smelling sludge. Nestle's Pure Life is a clever business concept, and particularly so in the developing world. In countries such as Pakistan, where the public water supply has failed or is close to a collapse, so Nestle proudly presents its bottled water as a safe, healthy alternative, but for the overwhelming majority of consumers, it is an expensive, out-of-reach alternative. In the mega metropolis of Nigeria and Africa, with its population skyrocketing every year, water always comes at a price. The scenario of a city in which everyone has to pay for Nestle's water is already a sad reality for Lagos. Families living out in the slums spend half their meager budget on canisters of water. The upper class, they purchase Nestle Pure Life. In researching his film Bottled Life, Rees comes out and said, to a sad and sombering conclusion, it is that of a company intent on amassing resources rights worldwide, with the aim of dominating the global market of the future. There is creating an issue of water scarcity. In the United States, expects that 1.8 billion people will live in places with dire water shortages by 2025, and that 2/3 of the world's population could be living under stress water conditions. These numbers don't just apply for developing countries or smaller countries either. It applies here in the U.S. as well. Our supply of water may be compromised in the U.S. too. A 2017 Michigan State University study predicted that more than 1/3 of Americans might not be able to afford their water bills in 5 years, and expect that the prices to have tripled due to the scarcity of water. What does it take to manufacture water bottles? It takes 3 times the volume of water to manufacture one single bottle of water than it does to just fill it up. And because of the chemical production of plastics, the water is mostly unusable anyways. We use 17 million barrels of oil each year just to produce all these water bottles. To put it in perspective, that's enough oil to keep 1 million cars fueled for a whole year. This Earth Policy Institute factors the energy used to pump, process, and transport and refrigerate our bottled water as over 50 million barrels of oil every year. That's an insane amount of resources for something that is completely unneeded. Any way to think of it, when you pick up a water bottle at the supermarket, hold it up and imagine it filled 1/4 the way with oil. That's how much in fossil fuels it took to manufacture it. Even the environmental impact is delivering all that bottled water is profound, both from the overseas and distribution to the stores in the US. It takes a fleet of 40,000 18-wheelers just to drive deliver our bottled water every week. What's the environmental impact? Water bottles are made completely recyclable polyethylene and tele. It's otherwise known as PET. Plastics, but PETs don't biodegrade, they photodegrade, which means they break down into smaller fragments over time. These fragments absorb toxins that pollute our waterways, contaminate our soil, and sicken animals. Plastic trash also absorbs organic pollutants like BPA and BCBS. Then they take centuries to decompose while sitting in landfills, amounting to endless billions of little environmental poisonous time bombs. According to the Ocean Conservatory, plastic bottles and plastic bags are the most prevalent form of pollution found in our beaches and in our oceans. Every square mile of the ocean has over 46,000 pieces of floating plastic in it. In the United States, approximately 42 billion plastic water bottles are purchased every year from companies like Nestle and Coke. In total, we American citizens spend around $11.8 billion on plastic water bottles annually. These plastic water bottles are really worth all of that money and water. They use a simple $20 reusable water bottle can save the average American $6,180 after 5 years of use, which is the bare minimum life expectancy of a reusable water bottle. You know how you pay $3+ for that cup of coffee that probably costs about 20 cents to make? You look like a financial genius making that purchase compared to the economics of bottled water. Bottled water costs well in excess of 1,000 times that of tap water, even with a filter. 8 glasses of water that's recommended the daily amount costs about 50 cents out of the tap, but about 1,400 if you bought bottled water. To put it in scale, if all of the water you used around the house for shower, dishwasher, watering the plants, etc., was used as bottled water instead, your monthly water bill would be about $9,000. If you switch to using a reusable water bottle, you can save 217 plastic water bottles from going to the landfill this year alone. Not only do they you'll save a lot of money and help the environment, but you're also going to be a healthier option opposed to plastic water bottles. Reusable water bottles are filled with lead and BPA free, which is beneficial to you and your family's well-being. By switching to a reusable water bottle, you can save yourself thousands of dollars, help the environment by lowering the amount of plastic in the United States, and save money and keep your family healthier. Thank you.